Hello, my friend. I welcome you to another episode of Aditya Talks, and today we have Miss Natalia, and let's welcome her to the show. Hello, ma'am.
Hi, Aditya. Thank you for having me here.
Well, ma'am, please tell us about yourself for the viewers and the work you do.
Okay, so like this first question is always super complicated for me. I know usually it's like, okay, tell us about yourself as a like ice-breaking question, and I always hope that this question is like skipped over. So why is that? I feel I am a multi-layered person, and this reminds me of a meeting I had with a landlord and a dear friend in Sweden. Um, when I went to meet him for deciding if I was gonna move there, he asked me some things, and then like I thought it was super shallow, and I asked him like, "Don't you want to know anything about myself?" And then he was like, "I'll find out as we share, time." So for me, it's the same. Like I feel putting myself in categories kind of like limit the experience of the other person, or like set like expectations about myself. So I prefer to leave it open so that you can meet me as we go and get your own idea about me. Yeah. So if you want, I can tell you like where am I based now. I'm calling right now from Colombia in South America. So we are in a super different time zone. So thank you for taking me at 9 p.m. India. So what else? Yeah, let's start from it.
Okay. Um, yeah, so from what I know about you, please tell us. It is going to be a very interesting show, and my viewers, stay tuned. Please stay tuned till the end because it is going to be a very interesting interview, and we're going to learn a lot. And there are going to be like many more parts coming of this interview. So stay tuned for those as well. Let's begin. So, ma'am, please tell us about the project you're currently doing. Uh,
Okay, Aditya, your voice is kind of cutting right now. That's how I'm experiencing it.
Now is it?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. So please, ma'am, tell us about the context of perennial student, teacher, and imperfect human.
Sure, Aditya. Thank you for that because it really helps me to focus on specific characteristics of myself. So, okay, perennial student first. I have to say I wasn't always like this. I have become aware of my curiosity of the world maybe in the last decade and a half. There are some dogs barking. I don't know if you can hear them. Is it okay?
It's okay. It's like in the background.
Yeah, okay, they are in the neighbor, but yeah, I cannot do anything about it. Okay, so for me, being a continuous student is super important in my life. Like, I feel there is so much to learn as the more as I explore in different topics that are interesting for me. I realize that my experience as a person expands as well. So that's why I see myself learning um, not only now but like during the whole lifespan until I pass. So that's part of my identity as well. So I want to share with you that, for instance, when I was a kid and later as a teenager, I wasn't always like this. And then when I was in my early 20s, I realized, like, if you want to frame it like that, that I had wasted a lot of my life because I didn't take the chance to learn or to live my life to the full potential, let's say. So since that moment, I promised to myself that whenever I had the feeling of interest about something, I will just definitely go and try it myself. Doesn't matter how old am I, or it doesn't matter if it doesn't seem like I am good at it from external standards. If I feel it is interesting for me, I just go and do it. Because later I realized, like, for instance, I was 20 then. If I had started, let's say, dancing or learning guitar, that right now I'm learning, like when I was 15, I would have had already 5 years of experience doing it. And it doesn't matter. I mean, it is not important for the quality of guitar playing or of dancing, but it is important for my own life experience. So I would have 5 years of life experience being a dancer, being a guitar player, learning a language. So for me, whenever I feel I want to learn something, I do it. And that's why I consider myself to be a perennial student. So do you want to say anything about this, or shall we continue?
Yeah, you can continue. I don't want to interrupt the flow, but I will certainly give my remarks at the end of the question when you give
Okay.
the answer.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so let's go with the teacher part. So teacher is part of my role right now, and it is also a responsibility I feel I take as a student. So whenever I learn something, I feel it is awesome to be able to share what I have learned with other people. So then, like, being a student is directly connected with being a teacher for me. And also, I feel teaching is one of the most potent tools for social change and for changing the world as well. So teaching can be a way for keeping things as they are, or it can be a potent tool for changing things. So it really depends about the quality of teaching and the topics of teaching. And of course, I am on the side of wanting to change the world. So yeah, that's kind of like my position right now. And let's go with what was the third one?
The third one was imperfect human.
Oh yeah. Okay, so that's to say I acknowledge my process and the great person I am, because I'm already living, and that's already precious for me. And at the same time, I see myself as a work of art in progress. So for me, that's super important and is a healthy way of relating with myself. I feel if I felt that I'm complete already or I'm perfect already, all my curiosity towards myself and towards who I can become and how can I be better into my wisest perspective will be over. So for me, it is always important to keep that space of potentiality about my own life and my own perspective. So yeah.
Okay. Well, that was certainly interesting. So please tell us about your travels around the world, because they seem to have contributed a lot during your journey. So what are your learnings from it, which you can share with our viewers?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I had the blessing of traveling since I was a kid. My family always privileged traveling among other things, like material things, for instance. So my family will always try to take us somewhere in the country at least once a year. And also sometimes they will try to take us also abroad once a year as well when we were kids. So since very young, I had this opportunity of seeing how being in the world can be super different in different parts of the world. So that expanded my heart and my mind about how diverse we are as human people and how diverse the earth is as well. So that was a great contribution for me, And also I feel since that early time, I started incorporating into my perspective of the world and the way I relate with myself as a multicultural person. So like few weeks ago, my neighbor asked me like, where are you from? And I was like, I'm from here, like I was born here. But I feel he sees me super different as the standard people around here, because I have incorporated so many things from different countries and cultures that he couldn't really relate that I was born in Colombia. So that was a great compliment for me, for instance. Um, and what else? Okay, so from then on, I learned also that the purpose of traveling informs how I experience traveling. So later, when I grew up, I started traveling by myself. Because, of course, when I was younger, I will always travel with my family. And I realized that since there is a different purpose of traveling now that I'm older, I experience traveling in a different light as well. So to say it like more with an example, like if you want, like it really depends, like why do you travel? Like for instance, if you want to see a different place, or if you want to just relax, or if you want to learn something, that purpose or that intention will inform your experience when you actually go there. And also I learned that traveling is not a break of life. Like it's not a vacation or a holiday of your life. It is life itself, and it is also in that way a great opportunity to learn about where am I in life, how do I experience life, and like the challenges I'm facing as well. So, for instance, I had the opportunity to go to London when I was young, like in my early 20s, to study English. And when I was there, I realized that many aspects of my life that I wasn't happy with when I lived in Colombia, they follow me to London. And that led me to think or to realize that I couldn't run away from myself. Doesn't matter how far in the world will I go, things that were not okay about the way I related with myself and with the world will haunt me wherever, no matter where I went, if I didn't address them. So that's what I mean when I say traveling is also part of life. So I will give you another example. A couple of years ago, I did a pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela. It's in Spain. So I walked from Lisbon in Portugal up north to Santiago de Compostela. I planned to walk for 4 weeks to make this journey. And in the middle of the journey, I started feeling a really, really intense pain on my knees. And that stopped me from walking for a week. And during that week, I learned that it is not necessary to travel physically to journey within and to get the insights and the teachings that traveling can give me. So I feel traveling is super precious and important for life, but it's not necessary, especially now, for instance, within the pandemics, it is not necessary to go abroad or to move within the country in order to be inspired and to maybe have life-changing situations. Like you can travel within without moving physically as well. So, okay, that's another learning I got. And also within that journey, I learned sometimes I feel so rushed to experience many things and see different places and go to all the landmarks in the book guides because otherwise I'll feel, I have this fear of missing out, and we cannot help it. I mean, we will always miss things in our lives. And I learned also that that was also mirroring where I was in life. Like I had this rush of doing things and making my life valuable and not wasting time. based on the teaching I got, as I shared with you before. And then I realized, you know what? It's okay. It's also okay to start allowing moments of rest, moments of deep connection with the places where I am at. And it's not necessary to do all the time. It is always good also to allow spaces for being, so that I can also receive information and inspiration that can be transcendental for my life as well. So as I share with you, traveling is also part of life in this sense. Like, it will, like with a magnifying glass, it will show me where I am in life. Like, for instance, before I was in a rush for doing things, and that's what I experienced in traveling as well. Now I am more interested in building meaningful connections, and I know we'll talk about this later, with the world, and that also shows in my travels. So it shows in what I look, what places do I look for traveling, and what activities I choose for doing. And also, traveling, finally, I think this is the last point I want to make, also showed me, it's been a great teacher about who I am and what is important for me. So I usually prefer to travel by myself, because I get the experience of really asking myself, what is it that I want to do and why? So let's say when I'm by myself, I can decide if I want to go inside a coffee shop and take a coffee and read for the whole evening in a city I'm visiting, or if I want to go to a park and lay in the grass and just be there seeing the sky, or if I want to go to a museum. And that really teaches me about what is important for me and what is valuable. And okay, so that's it. And also I want to say another thing. For me, the most important experiences while traveling have been not the ones that the travel guides say, but like the everyday life experiences. Like, for instance, having random conversations with people in the street, or like appreciating like simple moments, like a sunset, or seeing like a new flower I didn't see and smell it. So that says a lot about me and where I am now. And I feel like if you think to yourself, like, what is it important for you to travel and why would you like to travel? That will also tell you a lot about where you are in your life in this moment and what is important for you as well in this moment. Mm-hmm.
Okay. We know that traveling was certainly a very important thing and had a very deep place in your heart. So, can you tell us which were your favorite countries to visit during your traveling times?
Sure. Okay, so there are many places that have been awesome for me. There are some that are great for the astronomy, for instance. So I have deep in my heart Mexico in this sense, and also Pakistan. I experience a lot the beauty of the food in both places. There are also places that are deep in my heart due to the hospitality and kindness of people. There, it is really, really deep in my heart, Colombia, and I also Pakistan as well. It was a really great place due to the hospitality and kindness of people, and Turkey as well. And there are also places that have been super impactful for me in the quality of life that they have. And in this list, I would say Sweden and the Nordic countries. And you know what? Like okay, so that's one layer of traveling, but there is another more important maybe layer of traveling that has been super important, like yeah, transcendental for me, and it is places where I have felt welcome in an existential way. So that is places where I feel I am safe. Like not physically but more like emotionally, or in a deeper sense. And when I leave those places, I feel, or I leave a promise in my heart that I will be back to these places. And that was okay. Portugal was one of these places, Spain as well. And there are also places that are more ecosystems. So, for instance, the desert for me, and also the Paramo. The Paramo is an ecosystem that is special to certain areas of the Andes in South America. And it is in a high altitude. It's between 2,300 meters above the sea level until 4,000 meters above the sea level. So it's quite high in the mountains. And these are ecosystems that are where the water is kind of birth in the mountains. And these two ecosystems, for instance, are also places where I feel existentially safe. And recently I have learned that these places have a connection with my ancestors. So the point I want to make here is that one thing is what it is advertised in the book guides or in the travel journals, and another thing is the inner calling to visit places. So sometimes these places are not as popular, perhaps, or they won't make sense for anyone else, maybe, but there is an inner calling to go there. And it doesn't really have to make sense in that moment for you. It might make sense later, or it might not. It doesn't matter. But for me, the most potent has been to follow my intuition while traveling and while deciding where to go. Because definitely in those places I have received the most potent inspiration and learnings of my life. So I will say, like, if you really are craving for traveling, just go by your gut and decide based on that, because what makes sense to you and what is meaningful to you is not necessarily what is meaningful for me or for other person. So yeah, that's the message I want to leave.
Okay, that was interesting. So, you have done like many projects, but your current project is like called Cuenca Sacra. If I am pronouncing it right,
Yeah,
feel free to correct me. And then, how did you start it, and what is your goal behind this project?
sure. Yeah. Okay. So Cuenca Sacra is the second step of a process I started in 2020. So in 2019, I was working in Mexico in human rights with human rights defenders, and I burnt out. So I left the project before I expected, by December 2019. And during that period of time, I realized, and before that, even like after finishing my master's studies in Sweden, that was in 2000, by the end of 2014, I felt it is time to start sharing, as I shared with you. Like, that's my responsibility as a student as well. And I felt it was time. So when I returned to Colombia by early 2020, I called for women meetings here at my place in Colombia, so that I will start sharing with them what I had learned through my journeys and what was important for me, like the tools I realized were important for me in making every year of my life the best of my life. It doesn't mean that I don't have difficulties or there aren't challenges in my life, But there are tools that I wished I had since early ages. And so I started sharing with whoever was interested. So then the pandemic started. You want to say something?
No, I'm listening.
Okay. So then the pandemic started, and that invited me to move the meetings online. So this was a great opportunity for gathering among women from different places in the world. So we started having meetings in Spanish in different places in America. And also we had meetings in English with friends from other parts of the world. So Cuenca Sacra is the next step in that process. So I felt I indeed have so much to share, and I wanted to make it available for as many people as possible if they were interested on it. So Cuenca Sacra is an educational platform and project that is a baby. It was launched last year in November. So right now I'm only in Instagram, but my project is to make it an educational platform in a website that will offer courses and individual sessions as well. And this is my contribution to change the world right now, and is my life purpose as well. So the objective of Cuenca Sacra and the themes we will be working on, or we are working on right now, is to connect people with their inner wisdom and to help them remember who is their life team. And so that, like, I feel each of us have a particular purpose and a particular unique contribution to make to the world. And I feel we haven't received the education for that. I feel the education system, like, I'm very general here. I am aware that there are other ways of education that don't follow this, but I'm saying, like, in general, what the education system wants is to teach us how to replicate the current system of the world. And it leaves aside, it doesn't teach us how to connect with our inner wisdom and to connect with our own gifts that are so unique. So this is the intention of Cuenca Sacra, so that, like, people can live fulfilling lives according to their wisest standards, own standards. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
yeah.
that is a very interesting and a very good project. Anyway, I and my viewers, how can we help? Any way we can support this project?
Yeah. So if you find interesting anything we are speaking in this session or in the next session we are going to have together, Aditya, just reach out. I am available in Instagram. You can send me a direct message, or you can follow even Instagram to be updated. Right now, I started it as a bilingual platform in English and Spanish. But then it turned out it was a lot of work, and the audience in English wasn't that big, so I just decided to do it now only in Spanish. But my intention is to work with people in general from the global south, and that means in Spanish and English, and hopefully Portuguese as well in the near future. So if you find anything interesting, just reach out. If you want to learn more about how to connect with your inner wisdom, or to build meaningful relationships, as we will talk a bit later, just send me a message.
Yes,
Mm?
then I will put the link, your Instagram link in the description
Mhm.
below. So please be sure to check that out, my viewers, because it is a very great project ma'am is doing, and I hope you, I know you can learn a lot from it. And today we are just getting a gist of ma'am's experience. You can learn a lot more by going there and supporting ma'am and learning from her. So thank you once again. You have studied dance, yoga, foundation, like foundations of ritual, animism, plant medicine, many more things. But what is the one thing which is common in all these things, which has made you attract toward all of these topics? The answer to this question will connect your works and will dissect towards what you are craving for.
Um, yeah, that's a really interesting question. I will say what is common to all of them is my own life journey. So, all of them have been great teachers for me in different moments of my life. And it's been also my intuition who has led me there, maybe in a more conscious or unconscious ways. So, two friends of mine have told me in different moments, like, why don't you focus in one thing? They have been upset about it. And like, you are not a hummingbird to be like from one flower to another one. And I feel that's pretty much related to my curiosity about the world. And, like, I feel it doesn't have to make sense for the world and not even for me. I feel I'm kind of like going a little bit blindly, like one step at a time, like following my inner compass to what calls my attention. And it has proved to make sense in the end. Like, all I'm sharing right now in Cuenca Sacra is informed by my journeys and by my learnings in these different topics. And this is how, like, these are many tools that I am using right now to share and teach people. So yeah, I think that's what is common to all of them, and how it informs what I'm doing right now in my world. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for sharing that, ma'am. It was really great to talk to you today. And my viewers, stay tuned for the next episode because it is going to be a very interesting one. This is only the gist of ma'am's experience, and we're going to learn about many more interesting topics like anthropology and animism and all of that. So, stay tuned for the next episode. And, ma'am, thank you.
Thank you.